Question 211. For this question, refer to the Helicopter Racing League, HRL, case study. HRL is looking for a cost-effective approach for storing their race data such as telemetry. They want to keep all historical records, train models using only the previous season's data, and plan for data growth in terms of volume and information collected. You need to propose a data solution. Considering HRL business requirements and the goals expressed by CEO S. Hawke, what should you do? A. Use Firestore for its scalable and flexible document-based database. Use collections to aggregate race data by season and event. B. Use Cloud Spanner for its scalability and ability to version schemas with zero downtime. Split race data using season as a primary key. C. Use BigQuery for its scalability and ability to add columns to a schema. Partition race data based on season. D. Use Cloud SQL for its ability to automatically manage storage increases and compatibility with MySQL. Use separate database instances for each season. The best approach is option C. Use BigQuery for its scalability and ability to add columns to a schema. Partition race data based on season. Explanation. BigQuery is a cost-effective, scalable, and serverless solution that supports large-scale analytics. Partitioning by season optimizes query performance and storage costs since only recent season data needs frequent access for model training. Other options. Option A. Firestore not suitable for analytical queries, designed for document-based NoSQL storage. Option B. Cloud Spanner is highly available but costly and is overkill for storing historical race data. Option D. Cloud SQL not cost-effective for large-scale data storage and analytics compared to BigQuery. Question 212. For this question, refer to the Helicopter Racing League, HRL, case study. A recent finance audit of cloud infrastructure noted an exceptionally high number of compute engine instances are allocated to do video encoding and transcoding. You suspect that these virtual machines are zombie machines that were not deleted after their workloads completed. You need to quickly get a list of which VM instances are idle. What should you do? A. Log into each compute engine instance and collect disk, CPU, memory, and network usage statistics for analysis. B. Use the gcloud compute instances list to list the virtual machine instances that have the idle, true label set. C. Use the gcloud recommender command to list the idle virtual machine instances. D. From the Google console, identify which compute engine instances in the managed instance groups are no longer responding to health check probes. The best approach is option C. Use the gcloud recommender command to list the idle virtual machine instances. Explanation. Google Cloud Recommender identifies idle VMs based on CPU, memory, and network activity. Running. gcloud recommender recommendations list project is equal to project_id, location is equal to region, recommender is equal to google.compute.instance.idle resource recommender. Provides automated insights into idle instances, helping HRL quickly identify and delete zombie VMs. Other options. Option A. Manually logging into VMs time-consuming and inefficient for large-scale environments. Option B. Checking idle, true labels. No such default label exists for idle VMs. Option D. Health checks in managed instance groups only useful for load-balanced instances, not standalone compute engine VMs. Question 213. For this question, refer to the EHR healthcare case study. You are responsible for ensuring that EHR's use of Google Cloud will pass an upcoming privacy compliance audit. What should you do? Choose to A. Verify EHR's product usage against the list of compliant products on the Google Cloud Compliance page. B. Advise EHR to execute a Business Associate Agreement (BA) with Google Cloud. C. Use Firebase authentication for EHR's user-facing applications. D. Implement Prometheus to detect and prevent security breaches on EHR's web-based applications. E. Use GKE private clusters for all Kubernetes workloads. The best choices are option A. verify EHR's product usage against the list of compliant products on the Google Cloud Compliance page, and option B, advise EHR to execute a business associate agreement with Google Cloud. Explanation. EHR Healthcare must ensure compliance with healthcare privacy regulations. Verifying Google Cloud product compliance helps confirm that EHR is using only approved services that meet privacy standards. A business associate agreement is required for organizations handling protected health information in Google Cloud. Other options. Option C, Firebase authentication. While useful for authentication, it is not a privacy compliance measure. Option D, Prometheus. Prometheus is for monitoring, not for compliance auditing. Option E, GKE private clusters enhances security but is not directly related to compliance audits. Question 214. For this question, refer to the EHR Healthcare case study. You need to define the technical architecture for securely deploying workloads to Google Cloud. You also need to ensure that only verified containers are deployed using Google Cloud services. What should you do? Choose to A. Enable binary authorization on GKE and sign containers as part of a CI/CD pipeline. B. Configure Jenkins to utilize Kritis to cryptographically sign a container as part of a CI/CD pipeline. C. Configure Container Registry to only allow trusted service accounts to create and deploy containers from the registry. D. Configure Container Registry to use vulnerability scanning to confirm that there are no vulnerabilities before deploying the workload. The best choices are option A, enable binary authorization on GKE and sign containers as part of a CI/CD pipeline, and option B, configure Jenkins to utilize Kritis to cryptographically sign a container as part of a CI/CD pipeline. Explanation. Binary authorization ensures that only verified and signed containers are deployed to prevent unauthorized code execution. Kritis with Jenkins signs containers cryptographically, ensuring security before deployment. Other options. Option C, restricting registry access helps but does not enforce verified deployments. Option D, vulnerability scanning useful, but does not ensure signed containers are deployed. Question 215. You need to upgrade the EHR connection to comply with their requirements. The new connection design must support business-critical needs and meet the same network and security policy requirements. What should you do? A. Add a new dedicated interconnect connection. B. Upgrade the bandwidth on the dedicated interconnect connection to 100G. C. Add 3 new cloud VPN connections. D. Add a new carrier peering connection. The best choice is option A, add a new dedicated interconnect connection. Explanation. EHR Healthcare needs a business-critical, high-performance, and secure connection. Adding a new dedicated interconnect connection provides increased reliability and bandwidth, ensuring compliance with security policies. Other options. Option B, upgrading bandwidth might help but does not provide redundancy. Option C, cloud VPN connections not suitable for business-critical, high-throughput needs. Option D, carrier peering does not meet the security and policy requirements of EHR Healthcare. Question 216. For this question, refer to the EHR Healthcare case study. You need to define the technical architecture for hybrid connectivity between EHR's on-premises systems and Google Cloud. You want to follow Google's recommended practices for production-level applications. Considering the EHR Healthcare business and technical requirements, what should you do? A. Configure to partner interconnect connections in one metro, city, and make sure the interconnect connections are placed in different metro zones. B. Configure to VPN connections from on-premises to Google Cloud, and make sure the VPN devices on-premises are in separate racks. C. Configure direct peering between EHR Healthcare and Google Cloud, and make sure you are peering at least to Google locations. D. Configure to dedicated interconnect connections in one metro, city, and 2 connections in another metro, and make sure the interconnect connections are placed in different metro zones. The best choice is option D, configure to dedicated interconnect connections in one metro, city, and 2 connections in another metro, and make sure the interconnect connections are placed in different metro zones. Explanation. Dedicated interconnect provides high performance and security. Using multiple metros and metro zones ensures failover and redundancy. Other options. Option A, partner interconnect not as reliable as dedicated interconnect for business-critical applications. Option B, VPN connections not sufficient for production-level hybrid connectivity. Option C, direct peering less reliable compared to interconnect solutions. Question 217. For this question, refer to the EHR Healthcare case study. You are a developer on the EHR Customer Portal team. Your team recently migrated the Customer Portal application to Google Cloud. The load has increased on the application servers, and now the application is logging many timeout errors. You recently incorporated pub/sub into the application architecture, and the application is not logging any pub/sub publishing errors. You want to improve publishing latency. What should you do? A. Increase the pub/sub total timeout retry value. B. Move from a pub/sub subscriber pull model to a push model. C. Turn off pub/sub message batching. D. Create a backup pub/sub message queue. The best choice is option C, turn off pub/sub message batching. Explanation. Disabling batching improves message delivery latency because messages are sent immediately instead of waiting for batch accumulation. Other options. Option A, increasing timeout does not reduce publishing latency. Option B, switching to push model helps with subscriber latency but does not improve publishing latency. Option D, backup queue does not address the latency issue. Question 218. For this question, refer to the EHR Healthcare case study. In the past, configuration errors put public IP addresses on backend servers that should not have been accessible from the internet. You need to ensure that no one can put external IP addresses on backend compute engine instances and that external IP addresses can only be configured on front-end compute engine instances. What should you do? A. Create an organizational policy with a constraint to allow external IP addresses only on the front-end compute engine instances. B. Revoke the compute.networkadmin role from all users in the project with front-end instances. C. Create an identity and access management (IAM) policy that maps the IT staff to the compute.networkadmin role for the organization. D. Create a custom identity and access management (IAM) role named GC_frontend with the compute.addresses.create permission. The best choice is option A, create an organizational policy with a constraint to allow external IP addresses only on the front-end compute engine instances. Explanation. Organization policies allow enforcement at the project level to prevent accidental external IP assignments. Other options. Option B, revoking network admin role might cause operational issues. Option C, IAM policy for IT staff. IAM does not prevent IP assignment mistakes. Option D, custom IAM role does not enforce restrictions at the organization level. Question 219. For this question, refer to the EHR Healthcare case study. You are responsible for designing the Google Cloud Network architecture for Google Kubernetes Engine. You want to follow Google best practices. Considering the EHR Healthcare business and technical requirements, what should you do to reduce the attack surface? A. Use a private cluster with a private endpoint with master authorized networks configured. B. Use a public cluster with firewall rules and virtual private cloud (VPC) routes. C. Use a private cluster with a public endpoint with master authorized networks configured. D. Use a public cluster with master authorized networks enabled and firewall rules. The best choice is option A, use a private cluster with a private endpoint with master authorized networks configured. Explanation. Private clusters reduce exposure to the internet. Master authorized networks limit access, reducing attack surface. Other options. Option B and D, public clusters not secure for EHR Healthcare's requirements. Option C, private cluster with public endpoint still exposes the control plane, which is not ideal. Question 220. Hawke Games has deployed their new backend on Google Cloud Platform, GCP. You want to create a through testing process for new versions of the backend before they are released to the public. You want the testing environment to scale in an economical way. How should you design the process? A. Create a scalable environment in GCP for simulating production load. B. Use the existing infrastructure to test the GCP-based backend at scale. C. Build stress tests into each component of your application using resources internal to GCP to simulate load. D. Create a set of static environments in GCP to test different levels of load for example, high, medium, and low. The best choice is option C. Build stress tests into each component of your application using resources internal to GCP to simulate load. Explanation. Component-level stress tests ensure scalability before deployment. Using internal GCP resources optimizes cost. Other options. Option A. Scalable environment for production load simulation too expensive. Option B. Testing on existing infrastructure might not match production scale. Option D. Static environments not efficient for varying load levels.